Good afternoon, everybody. Yves Galair. I'm delighted to join you virtually this afternoon as you embark on your discussions regarding the role of faith and religion in the future of the European Union and how, in the words of Ursula von der Leyen, the soul of the Union can be strengthened. I want to thank you for taking the time to participate in this online seminar and for agreeing to share your views on the future of the European Union. I want to express my thanks as well to the Adjunct Professor Philip McDonough and the staff of the DCU Centre for Religion, Human Values and International Relations conference for facilitating these discussions. The Conference on the Future of Europe is an unprecedented opportunity for citizens all over Europe to make your voices heard about the future direction of our Union. We will only derive the full value from an exercise of this kind if we have a wide and inclusive range of voices taking part in the discussion. The European Union itself represents a unique experiment in reconciliation, peace-building, power sharing, and it's fitting, of course, that Pope Francis earlier this year declared Robert Schuman, one of the founders of the European Union, as venerable, one step closer on the road to his possible canonisation in the Catholic Church. A serious reflection on where Europe is headed is clearly warranted in light of all that's happened in the past decade. The EU has had to navigate several major challenges, including the financial crisis, the migration crisis since 2015, and that's something that Pope Francis obviously has spoken out a lot on, the UK's departure from the European Union, and most recently the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, COVID-19 required Europe to confront a once-in-a-generation public health crisis. The past 20 months have required sacrifices of all groups in society, including the limiting of the shared profession of religious beliefs across the continent. Perhaps two of the most defining images of the pandemic centre on religious events. We vividly remember at the beginning of the pandemic in Europe when Pope Francis held an extraordinary Urbi et Orbi in a deserted St. Peter's Square to pray for the end of what was then a new, novel pandemic. More recently in Ireland, we have welcomed members of the Islamic community, complete with the Sajjad prayer mats, to Croke Park, onto the pitch for the past 2 years to celebrate the Eid al-Adha. The pictures in our national newspapers of happy faces on the pitch, both young and old, are usually reserved for All-Ireland final days in front of crowds of 80,000 people. As we think about the aftermath of COVID-19 and how we can fashion a strong and equitable post-pandemic economic recovery across the Union, how best to address the social, economic and health needs of all following this transformative experience, that must be a key question. One of the topics for the Conference on the Future of Europe is values and rights, a topic which, among other things, focuses on combating intolerance and religious discrimination throughout the member states of the European Union. I'd be interested to hear if there's anything that you believe the European Union could be doing more in this area to tackle this problem in our societies. I'm conscious that today's conference is taking place virtually, and thank you for that, in light of the ongoing public health situation. I think we can all acknowledge that our collective experience in this pandemic would have been very different had we not had the benefit of digital technology. Religious services have also been transformed by the pandemic, with religious leaders speaking alone to cameras at the height of the lockdown in empty buildings to virtual congregations. And I'm very grateful for the work of religious communities and their volunteers right across this country during the pandemic. They have done an excellent job. In this conference on the future of Europe, it's important that we capitalise on the possibilities of the digital, but navigating, of course, the difficulties this can create, and your own experiences of navigating the challenges of technology throughout the pandemic would be most welcome. European Union membership has been hugely transformative for Ireland as a nation. In much the same way, the European Economic Community that we joined back in 1973 is very different from the diverse, vibrant, multicultural European Union that we're part of today. Indeed, as we look ahead to the 50th anniversary of Ireland joining the EU in 2023, it's timely that we reflect on the type of Europe that we, as a collective society, that we're all part of, that we want to foster in the next half-century, and what role Ireland will play in that process. Nevertheless, I think it's important to acknowledge that not all groups in society have shared equally in that progress, and many continue to face obstacles in the way of their full participation. Certain communities encounter particular challenges today. You, as leaders and representatives of faith communities and denominations, may encounter them in your own pastoral work throughout towns and villages in Ireland. So events like today are very useful to help us consider what role the European Union can play in providing better access to opportunities across the likes of education, employment and health in the years ahead for the most marginalised in our societies. As Minister for European Affairs, I really want to hear all the perspectives on the European Union, what it means for us here in Ireland, and what future direction we all think it should take. Today, therefore, is about you and your views. No right or wrong answers in this process at all. To date, I've participated in the first two of the conference plenaries in Strasbourg, virtually as well, and I'll partake in several more of these gatherings in the months ahead. The plenaries are a very good opportunity to hear how other member states, national parliaments and social partners are approaching the conference. The plenaries to come will see us examine the ideas that are emerging from the citizens' discussions across Europe. So events such as today's seminar help form part of the Irish view that then feeds into future meetings of the conference plenary via reporting that will be submitted on the conference's digital platform. That in turn helps form a consensus report, which is based on the proceedings of the plenary and the citizens' panel. This report then goes to the presidents of the Council, the Parliament and the Commission for consideration and follow-up action. Finally, I hope that your participation in today's conference might inspire you to consider perhaps organising your own Future of Europe event, big or small, amongst your own communities. One of the key advantages of the conference is that anybody can take the initiative to do this and upload a report of their discussion onto the digital platform, and then that, as I said, forms part of the conference's larger conversation. It's important that as many people as possible have their voices heard during this process, and that their opinions on the European Union, positive and negative, whatever, are heard during the process. All of us now have an opportunity to review what the European Union is doing, how it impacts, or maybe it doesn't impact, on our daily lives, and where it might do better. So I wish you all the best for your conference and your discussions today. Go to Míle maith go for